Hello, my name is Hazel, and in this video, I'm going to show you the process that I learned for installing a Splunk Enterprise instance into a Linux box using AWS. So to get started, first you will need an AWS account as well as a Splunk account. So if you go to the Splunk website, um, go ahead and create an account, a free account, because you're going to need it in order to download their free trial. So to get started, first search the service called Lightsail. So this is a service that AWS has for beginners that want to get practice with creating their own virtual machines. So it's pretty simple. Just go ahead and click Create Instance. The location doesn't matter as long as it's in the United States because this is basically where the servers are at. The servers that you're using to connect your virtual machine to. So this location is already fine. For the platform, you want to select Linux. For the blueprint, you just want the operating system and keep Amazon Linux 2023 as it's the latest blueprint. And then for the rest of the settings, you can keep them as is. Uh, Keep the dual stack. And then for the size, we want to go with this one, this plan, because in order to run Splunk Enterprise on your virtual machine, you're going to need at least 2 GB of memory. If you go any lower than that, your instance is going to get stuck and you're not going to be able to use it. So the first 3 months are free. So as long as you delete your instance before the free trial period ends, then you're not going to get charged for the $12 a month. So go ahead and choose that one. For your instance name, you can keep it as is or change it to something like Splunk Enterprise, and then you're going to hit Create Instance. And this will take a few minutes depending on your network. In the meantime, while we wait, you can go to the Splunk website, go to Products, under Platform, click Splunk Enterprise. So you're going to see Splunk Cloud Platform. If you're wondering what the difference is, obviously, yeah, it's on the cloud, but Splunk Cloud is managed by Splunk themselves. Splunk Enterprise is managed by the business or whoever is managing the instance. So, for example, some businesses would rather manage their own data than have Splunk managing it from the cloud. So that's why some businesses choose to work with Splunk Enterprise over Splunk Cloud. So with that said, you can click on the free trial button. The free trial period is for 60 days, so 2 months. Once the 2 months are up, you're just not going to be able to log into your instance anymore. It's not going to automatically switch to like a paid license. So you can delete your AWS instance before the 2 month period ends. And honestly, you could just restart the whole process again if you want to keep practicing. Just keep using the free trials and you'll be fine. So yeah, here you're going to click on the Linux installation packages. So we're going to be using the .tgz file. .deb is a Debian package. .rpm is a Red Hat package manager file. I'm not really familiar with these two, but .tgz basically means that it's multiple files in a single archive. So we're gonna copy the widget link. I think that's how you say it, widget. So just copy this and we're gonna need it in an instant. But for now, let's check our instance. If it's taking too long, you could just refresh. Yeah, and it's ready. So you can click on it now, go to networking because we're gonna make some configurations real quick. under IPv4 firewall, you're going to see that there's rules already. So we're going to overwrite these and open all TCP ports only because it's a test environment. In a real business environment, you wouldn't do this as it's a huge security risk, but for a beginner test environment, this is okay. So because Splunk operates on port 8000, so that's the port we're going to connect to, and we'll cover that after we install our Splunk Enterprise instance. So once that's done, you could go back to, not go back, but click on connect, and then we're gonna open the terminal using SSH secure shell. So the terminal's opening up, and you're gonna type in the following Linux commands. So you can find on the internet what these commands mean if you want to dive deeper into them. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to tell the terminal to switch users. Super user do switch user, and then hit enter. And we're going to set a password to our terminal for security best practices. So type in password, PASSWD, hit enter, and it's going to prompt you for a new password. Let me move. So you can choose any password you want, and it's not going to show as you type it for those of you that aren't familiar with the terminal. And if you get a thing saying it's a bad password because it's not secure or something, you could still use the same password or you could pick something else. So once that's done, uh, so Splunk recommends that you don't install Splunk Enterprise as the root user. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a user called Splunk by typing in user add Splunk. And then we're going to create a Splunk directory so that we can install our instance in there. So by doing that, you type mkdir, which stands for make directory, then space slash opt, because that's a directory that we're going to navigate into. And then Splunk, and then we want to switch directories. So by doing that, you type in cd, which stands for change directory, and then space slash opt slash. And that is because we will be installing our Splunk Enterprise instance in that location. So hit enter, and then this is where you paste your wget command, wget, whatever. So just paste as is, and then you hit enter, and it's going to put all the files into your computer. However, this doesn't mean that the software is ready to go. So in order to do that, we're just going to run a few more commands. So then you're going to type in ls, which stands for list files. And this basically gives you a list of all the files that your Linux instance has. So in this case, we only have this file. So you're going to want to copy this. Be careful not to copy the extra spaces because they take up space. And Linux is very sensitive. So yeah, from here, you're going to type sudo tar xvzf and then space, paste your output, space dash capital C space slash opt. What this is doing, basically, it's untarring the archive files. So Then you hit enter, and this is your Linux instance and untarring all these files. And if you want to know more about what tar xvzf means exactly, then you can find the resources online. I'm honestly not a Linux expert. I just know how to install software based on a few commands that I've learned from previous experiences. So, yeah, once that's done, you want to switch working directories again because we want to navigate into the bin directory, into the Splunk bin directory, because that's where Splunk commands reside. For example, the command for starting the software. So you do that by cd change directory space slash opt slash Splunk slash bin, and then yeah, you hit enter. And now we're going to start the software. So with this command, you type sudo space slash opt slash Splunk slash bin slash Splunk start, and then space, two dashes, accept dash license. So here we're going to skip the licensing agreement. We're just going to go ahead and accept it. It will save us time, you'll see. So yeah, you just hit enter. It's going to prompt you for an admin, I mean for credentials, for logging into the Splunk Enterprise GUI. So you can choose anything. And then as Splunk starts up, it grabs the ports it needs and generates keys. And then once completed, it will display the Splunk web interface address. So see how it says it has a port 8000? That is because that's where Splunk connects to. So just give it a few seconds, and we're just gonna enter one last command. If you're interested, Splunk can also be set to start automatically at boot time. So with that, you would do sudo space dot slash Splunk enable boot dash start. Then you hit enter, and once you see this command, that means that you're all set. And now you can close the terminal. Everything is set up, so. And to access the Splunk GUI the instance that you just created, you go to networking, copy your public IP address, then go to the web, then you're gonna type in HTTP paste, and then colon 8000, and it should take you to the Splunk login page. You type in your credentials, and you're in. So just a few things. This check mark right here, this is your Splunk health report. So if everything's good, you'll have the green mark. If your resources are being overloaded, then you're gonna get the yellow or the red. But if you just wait it out, um, your instance will be healthy. So one thing to remember, if you're going to use the search and reporting app, which is where you can run the SPL queries, um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So if you're going to use the search and reporting app, let's say if you're gonna ingest data sets, so just remember that you can only ingest 500 megabytes of data per day for the free trial. So try to keep it low. You don't want to ingest like a file with 50 megabytes either because it's just going to slow down your instance. So try to keep it at like kilobytes if possible, or just searching the internal logs. So yeah, that's about it. Don't forget to delete your instance if you're not planning on using Splunk Enterprise for a while, because if you forget, you're going to get charged by AWS. And to do that, you just, let me log out, and you would just hit stop and then wait a bit. Once it's stopped, you're going to hit delete. So that's it for this video. I will post a few resources in the description that I used, as well as the Linux commands that I used. And if anyone has any recommendations on how I could improve this process or make it more efficient or whatever, then let me know. I would love to learn new ways to do this because this is something I learned like almost 2 years ago. So, yeah, thank you for watching.